United States President Joe Biden has come forward with a gun control plan that includes so-called ghost guns, pistol braces, and red flag laws. It's the trifecta of nonsense, folks, and it looks like things might be getting serious. We're going to break down what's happening so far after this.
Yeah. Just because I'm addicted to caffeine does not mean that I have to settle for coffee. Blackout coffee. Yeah.
To get 10% off your entire order, go to blackoutcoffee.com and use the code TGC. That's blackoutcoffee.com/TGC and use the code TGC. Welcome back to The Gun Collective. My name is Jon Patton and you are watching the fight for gun rights. If you are sick and tired of these ridiculous pushes for gun control, go ahead and get subscribed because we are going to keep covering it. Now, what is the Biden plan proposing? According to whitehouse.gov, the Justice Department within 30 days will issue a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation of quote-unquote ghost guns. The explanation for this is pointed at criminals buying unfinished guns and finishing them, then using those finished firearms in crimes. They also state that these cannot be traced because they do not have a serial number. In reality, buying an unfinished gun is not a crime because it's not a gun. Building your own firearm for personal use is not a crime. If you pay close attention to the wording here, the key is the cannot be traced portion. They want a paper trail. They want these things to be serialized and be traceable and have background checks. To me, this is a gross overstep. What's amazing is that somehow the burden of dealing with this is falling on those that didn't break the law. Forget the fact that there's a firearm involved. A crime was committed by a person, and somehow others that are not committing that crime are going to be suffering the consequences. And like I said, it's not illegal to buy these kits as they are not guns. You guys know the term slippery slope that always gets talked about. Everybody always says this, slippery slope. Well, here it is right in front of our faces, oiled up and ready to be slipped on. The next portion is going to upset a lot of you. I'll read the entire section because it's short. It says the Justice Department within 60 days will issue a proposed rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. The alleged shooter in the Boulder tragedy last month appears to have used a pistol with an arm brace, which can make a firearm more stable and accurate while still being concealable. So because of one person, they are trying to make millions of guns into NFA items. For those that aren't aware, that would mean that every gun you possess with a pistol brace, for those, you would be required to not only register and serialize the part, but you would also be required to pay the federal government a tax of $200 for that privilege, for each individual one. With an unofficial estimate of around 10 million braces on the market, that would equate to $2 billion in tax revenue. $2 billion. This isn't about stopping what they call gun violence or their thinly veiled deceit about saving lives. It's about money. Not only that, but how on earth do they plan enforcing this when they couldn't even enforce the bump stock stuff? Imagine telling gun owners that 10 million guns needed to be turned in or registered. It's just not going to happen. There's no way. There's no way. But wait, there's more. The next section says the Justice Department will, within 60 days, publish model red flag law legislation for states. It also says red flag laws allow family members or law enforcement to petition for a court order temporarily barring people in crisis from accessing firearms if they present a danger to themselves or others. What's interesting is that they pretend like that's okay. This is based on pre-crime. Nothing has happened, but we are going to take away your legally obtained guns based on how we feel about you. This leaves out parts that are common in red flag laws about ex parte hearings, which means they can have a hearing about you and your mental health without you being present. It also leaves out the part where they can arbitrarily move the goalposts in terms of what is and is not acceptable to get your rights stripped away. They also state that they want to incentivize states to pass red flag laws, aka pay states money to create laws that could potentially strip someone of their rights based on the reports from another person. Now, it's important to note that this section is almost verbatim from Biden's campaign promises, and it's something that Trump tried to push on us as well, so this is not really surprising. It's also important to note that now more than ever is the time to go tell your local gun shops, as well as your local politicians, about Hold My Guns, which is a non-legislative, pro-freedom, self-governing option that completely replaces a need for any red flag situation. Hold My Guns is important here. There's also a section on investing in what they call evidence-based community violence interventions. Being that cities are where the majority of crime happens, this isn't a surprising approach. I'm not going to wax about this because, quite frankly, I'm undereducated on the topic. I'm not going to wax about it. It would be out of line. My viewpoint on inner city violence is that it stems from a crappy education system, but I'm sure it's far more complex than that. I'm sure somebody will tell me about it down in the comments. I would love to learn about that. The second to last part centers around the ATF working on an up-to-date report on illegal gun trafficking because apparently that hasn't been done since the year 2000. They plan to include a heavy look at online sales as well as incomplete guns and 3D printed guns as a part of this. I'm curious to know how all that stuff's going to be tracked. Like, how do you track what somebody's printing at home on their 3D printer or buying legally as an incomplete gun? And lastly, Biden has nominated career anti-gunner David Chipman to serve as director of the ATF, and I'm sure he will do everything he can to push forward this administration's agenda. So, okay, let's summarize. Proposed stuff for incomplete guns, pistol braces, and red flag laws. None of this is positive for gun owners. None of it at all. It's not good. It's also all predicated on these laws having a marked effect on crime, which is unlikely because criminals, by definition, do not follow laws. I mean, that's why they're criminals. Between the website and the press conference on this, there was an enormous amount of emotion mixed into the verbiage. I find it incredibly sad when politicians, regardless of political party, they both do it, use emotion to push legislation. On top of that, none of this stuff is law yet. Within the next month, we will know a lot more about what they plan to do officially and how they plan to enforce things. But for now, this is more of the same political nonsense. I'm curious to know what you guys think, though. Which part concerns you the most, and why is it red flag laws? Sound off down in the comment section, and let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this show and you want to see an ad-free version, go over to floatplane.com and check us out over there. After you click the like button on this video, please do that. Be sure to hit the secret affiliate link in the description. That would be a help. And of course, don't forget to get subscribed for more gun news every single week. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.